Hello YouTube, Bullets of Broadheads, third video, and this one's going to be about bows. What to look for when you're getting your first bow. Alright, the most important feature when buying a bow, by far, is your draw length and pull. And basically what that is, when you pull back the bow, what is your total draw length? How many inches is your total draw? Now I'm 6 foot and my draw length's right around 29 inches. If you're 5'8", it's probably around 28 inches, 5'6", 27, and so on. The most other important feature is the pull, how many pounds you pull. Now the average male should be able to pull around 60-65 pounds. My bow is set up at 50 to 60 pounds the way I bought it. And I have it maxed out, so I'm actually pulling about 63 pounds. Now if you're going to buy your first bow, I highly recommend you buy a 50 to 60 pound bow and put it at 55 pounds and work your way up. 55 pounds is a comfortable draw, and after a few months shooting you should be able to pull right around 60 pounds. But 55 pounds is plenty for archery and hunting, trust me. The next thing I want to talk about is a good pair of sights for your bow. And that's these things right here. And there's pins, multi-pin setup, single pins. I like the multi-pins. And basically what they are is yardage markers. The first pin you'll shoot is at 15 yards. The second pin you set up 25 yards. Third pin 35 yards. And this fourth pin I can move up and down, and depends on my yardage, is around 40 to 50 yards. But for your first time hunters, you don't want to go beyond 30 yards till you get really good at your bow and really comfortable shooting. So I would stay within the 30 yards if you're going to start bow hunting, and then you're going to be shooting in your yard. You can buy a single pin or use the first 2 pins for 15 to 25 yards, depends how big your property is. That's plenty. A good pair of sights go for about 150 bucks. Next is something called a stabilizer. What that does is pretty balance out the bow weight wise, reduces noise, vibration of the string. And people go crazy with stabilizers. There's some for 80 bucks. This one's 25 bucks and it does the job. And I'm very happy with it. Another important feature right here is called the rest. That's really important when it comes to shooting accurate with a bow. Now drop away rests are really popular amongst hunters. And what they do is literally what it says, they drop away, they drop out. So say when you pull back the bow and you're about to shoot, that drops away and gives the arrow free clearance and doesn't deflect the arrow at all. Now this is called a QAD, Quality Archery Design Rest. In my mind, they're the best. And they go for about $125, $150. But you can get a Whisker Biscuit, they're fine. It's basically a little round thing with whiskers inside and holds the arrow. And the arrow goes through the whiskers and it works fine. There's nothing wrong with a Whisker Biscuit. They go for about 40, 50 bucks if you want to go that route. Alright, the next thing I want to talk about is a release aid. Now, a lot of people think you pull back with your fingers. Actually, not really. 90% of the hunters use some type of release aid. And that's what this little contraption is. Basically, it goes on a string, locks on, you pull back, and when you're ready to shoot, you release the trigger. Just like that, it opens up and releases the arrow. There's the trigger on it right there. So what happens is this. This is what they call a D-loop. Very popular amongst hunters. Again, most hunters use it. The release aid goes on to the D-loop. You pull back the bow. When you're ready to shoot, you let go. Pull the trigger. Now there's a lot of technique in pulling back a bow and how to use your release aid. You don't want to punch the trigger. I'll do more videos on that, but this is basically just an intro to getting your first bow. Now I'm going to do a separate video on arrows, what type of arrows, broadheads, so we'll get into that on another video. Now, where to go to buy a bow? That's a good question. Cabela's, Bass Pro Shop has some decent bows. This is a Mathews D7. I bought this as a bad bow. What that means, it had none of these accessories on it. I put them on. This bow went for about 850 bucks. With all the accessories, when I was setting down, it was about $1,300 bow right here. And it gets expensive. But you can buy complete setups. The Mathews Mission, Hoyt has a bow called the Rampage. PSC has a bow called Bow Madness. They're complete setups with everything on it. And they're good bows. Trust me. You know, you don't have to spend over $1,000 for a good bow. I just love Mathews. I like the single cam. I think they're the best. But you don't have to go this route. I mean, go to Cabela's, a sports shop. There's a lot of hunting stores in your area. Go there. Let them custom fit a bow. You just can't pick a bow off the rack and buy it. You have to make sure that draw length is right to your size. You don't want it too long or too short. So that's the most important thing when buying a bow, is the draw length and pull. Remember that. So when you buy a bow, you just can't pick something off the shelf. It will say it on the bow. It has little notches on there. I don't know if you can see that. Sorry about that. I'll try to get in focus. But it says 60 pounds, 29-inch pull. All bows will tell you how many pounds. 60 is the max, and they usually drop 10 pounds. So I can go down to 50 if I want. And that's a 29-inch pull. So that's what you look for when you buy a bow. The most important things is draw length and draw pull. If you can, go to a custom sports shop, hunting shop in your area. Let them custom fit a bow to you, and you won't regret it. Go to Cabela's or Bass Pros if they have a good archery department. They'll hook you up. Don't buy a bow online. And there's a lot of reasons behind that, because you want it to be custom fit to you. I mean, your first bow, don't buy a used bow. I've seen people buy used bows with cracked limbs. The strings are bad and they got to restring it. They wind up paying more money than they thought they had to. So don't try to buy a bow on the internet if you can avoid that. If you don't have a sports shop in your area, order through Cabela's or Bass Pro Shop, somebody reputable, somebody you know. And that's the basic intro into buying a bow. I mean, it sounds a little complicated, but it's really not. I mean, there's a lot of features on the bow. But once you have a complete setup package, I mean, it's so accurate and it's so much fun. You know, you can shoot arrows in your yard. You don't have to be a hunter. You know, I love bow hunting. It's a passion of mine. But archery is just a great all-around sport. It will make you a better shot if you shoot guns. And it's just relaxing. You come home from work, you pop a few arrows in your yard. I mean, a good target is also something you're going to need. You know, targets can be a little pricey, anywhere from 50 to about 100. You can buy a 3D target. What that is a full-size deer. And shoot that, or just buy some good, decent targets. Targets will last you about 2 years, depends how much you shoot. And that's basically it. I hope you liked the first video on the bow introduction. I mean, if you have any more questions about it, just give me a shout and I will get into more detail about it. I will be doing a separate video on arrows and broadheads, so that's a whole another subject. But this is my first one. Remember, draw length and pull is the key to buying a bow. You don't want to go heavy pound bow. You don't need to pull 70 pounds, let's put it that way. 50 to 60 pound bow is plenty. Sorry about that. Well, anyway, that's my first video on bows. Hope you liked it. And that's basically it for now. I'll be doing another one on arrows. I think my next bow, my next video is going to be about guns, but I'm not sure right now. And that's basically it. Take care.